Ooh, we're going to have some fun today. So, I found out in Texas there is a bill trying to be passed, the No Furries bill. Because apparently, this is what it sounded like. Don't quote me on this. One school, one child, when I was listening to them talk about this, wants to dress up. And so they're trying to say that there's exempt days. Okay, so exempt days are like Halloween, things that you can dress up on. But regular school days, you have to be a human. You cannot lick yourself. You cannot lick other people. You cannot have a sandbox in the bathroom for kitty litter type stuff. And you cannot make meow. Can't go woof, woof, woof. Can't make sounds like that. And you, this is school. And you can't, you've got to act like a human, okay? Can't dress up, can't wear any sort of cat ears, nothing. Nothing to do with anything to do with animals. I want to talk about this from a belonging perspective. Might as well. Because I study belonging from collectivism versus individualism, belonging from how people view disabilities, belonging how we communicate, connect, conflict resolution. And I also talk around dark personalities. And I talk about belonging through the whole thing. So let me tell you my opinion on this. First of all, school has taken away a lot of play from kids. Studies show that we wire our brains in either fear or joy. What that means is if I want you to remember me, I'm either going to make you laugh or I'm going to scare the crap out of you. That's how you're going to remember my videos. That's how you're going to remember me if you encounter me. I will make an impression on you if I make you laugh or if I scare the crap out of you. That's basically how we remember. That's why we don't remember the day-to-day things unless there's an impression of either fear or joy of some kind. It's just the way it is. That's the way our brains work. So with school, a lot of times they've taken away play. Well, play also makes us more creative, makes us more ability to solve problems. Instead, they said, okay, I want you to sit here. I want you to learn 2 + 2 = 4. Okay. When you don't give people the ability to play and be creative, they're not going to create as much joy. They're going to sit there and they're going to yawn. I'm bored. So my opinion on this is, I'm just going to tell you, the sandbox thing, there's been reports that there were the sandbox. There have been reports that there wasn't a sandbox in the school. So I'm not going to say anything about the sandbox. First of all, I believe that you shouldn't allow kids to lick each other. That's not okay. I would tell the kids, you cannot lick your friend. That's a boundary. But if you want to have cat ears, it's okay. I want you to encourage you in your imagination. I want to encourage you in your play. As long as you're not disruptive. You need to answer the question. You cannot go, if I ask you, what's 2 + 2, and you go, meow. That's not going to work for me. But you also have kids who are nonverbal in school. You also have kids who have issues with communication, and you don't know what's going on with them. So a lot of it is sitting down with them and saying, this is how we have boundaries within play. Okay? In some ways, you can have some boundaries within play. For example, you're not going to play baseball in the house and knock out all the windows. You have boundaries with play. You play baseball in a field. You hit the ball in a field. Because if you don't and you play baseball in the house, you could break the windows and cost your family a lot of money. Those are like the rules we're talking about, common sense rules in play. So encourage the children to play. Encourage the children to pretend they're an animal. In fact, you could make it a day thing. Today, we're all going to pretend like we're dogs. What do dogs do today? They're happy. What are some characteristics about dogs? And include it in your lesson. Let's say this was junior high. You still can. Let's say it's high school. You still can. You see, there are creative ways instead of shutting it down. There are creative ways to have to create more of a playful environment. Just like I said, baseball. You don't tell the kid, I'm sorry, you can't play baseball. Because baseballs are dangerous and it could hit you in the head and you could have a concussion. Put a helmet on. You get what I'm saying? So you can't pretend to be a cat because cats use kitty litters and we're not having kitty litters in the school. Find an alternative way like you would baseball on a field. Find an alternative way. Okay, where we are going to have certain times you can say meow and certain times I'm going to have you answer me. Okay? Why don't we talk about those times and we'll work with that? Work with people. My gosh. Teach boundaries. Give them healthy ways of expressing themselves and navigating this. Don't shut them down. And I gotta tell you, as I was watching these guys and they're talking about a sandbox in the bathroom, I'm sitting here going, how can you say this with a straight face? How can you say this with a straight face that kids are wanting to use a sandbox in the bathroom and dress up as cats and dogs and go, meow? I mean, how can you? How can you not be laughing? And how can you shut that down? And how can you not have conversations and teach people how to have crucial conversations about this? And healthy conversations about it. Nope. We're going to shut everything down. We're going to tell you no. End of discussion. What about the other things that are happening, like the women dying in hospitals? HIPAA violations. Nope. It's more important to make sure kids don't have sandboxes in the bathroom. Okay. We're going to control your bathroom. Why don't you take care of your own bathroom? You can make sure there's no sandbox in your own bathroom. Okay? Make sure there's no litter box in your own bathroom. Don't worry about a school that you don't go to's bathroom. Just use your own bathroom. Don't worry about that school's bathroom and what is in that school's bathroom and what is not in that school's bathroom. Okay? So from a belonging perspective, if we don't allow our kids to play and have those healthy boundaries around playing and teach them what those healthy boundaries are, like I said, I would tell the kids, if you're pretending to be a cat, we're not going to lick your friend and groom your friend. That's not okay. And, there are certain ways, there's certain things that we're going to do in certain time frames. Then you work with that. It's just a place of dress up and play. So on that note, I hope that this was in some ways you're just going, oh my goodness. And you're laughing a little bit with me because I'm just like, kids will be kids. On that note, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.